here my guest, and I'll take him right now. And if I do pronounce his name wrong, please do correct me and just forgive me. Whitby, if we talk about the Whitby, around 12% of South Asian community is living in Whitby area. But unfortunately, there is something on the walls, chalking, sprays, some kind of illicit language and marks or things can be seen in Whitby. And I think these are the councillors, politicians and the community leading people. They can play a very important role to bring community together. Today, Regional Councillor Chris Leahy is with me. Did I pronounce your name right?
Yes,
Welcome.
Yes, you did. And thank you so much for having me here this afternoon.
Thank you very much, Chris Leahy. So once again, I welcome you because I forgot to. I'm a rookie person. I'm learning. Now you are on.
I think you're doing great.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you because in if we look at the Whitby there is a Muslim welfare doing good not only in Mississauga, Scarborough, Whitby, but they are doing good in downtown Toronto. They are doing good even in on the northern side of Canada in Nunavut. On their building, on their house, there was some thing on the walls mentioned.
Yes.
And you are such a great, bold person bringing community together that you became the voice for the community against these marks or these signs or writings.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like it's extremely important that when we see these hateful acts, whether it's Islamophobic or against any community, that I think it's incumbent upon all politicians to stand up, announce that it's not welcome in our community. Like no one I know in Whitby, the place where I was raised, where I raised my family, think that that's acceptable. It's not the Canadian values that I know. And what's really important is that we need to stand up and fight against it. So it was important for the staff and everyone to remove it quickly, which is great. But you need to you don't just want to erase it and say it's bad. You want to stand up, shout from the rooftops that this is completely unacceptable behavior in my community and it's not tolerant, so those that are doing it, stop.
So these marks, these graffitis are seen on the shelters, on the bus stands or overpasses. So is it the city who notice it, or are these the people who inform you that somebody is doing this?
So again, it happened like late Monday night overnight. And then some residents reached out. So they reached out to myself, they reached out to staff, and then reported it to the police. So what's important is that you have the police take some pictures, so just some documentation, so that they can put a police file together to try and track down who did it. So that's step one. And then the town staff, it was on, like you said, it was on multiple things. It was on the CP rail bridge. It was on some bus shelters, specifically around the Muslim Welfare
community.
Center home and Muslim Welfare Center motel that helps women in need, the shelter. And again, it's very targeted. They're looking to create fear and hate in our community, and this is for people that are actually helping our community. Like the Muslim Welfare Home has been there for many years. It's to help women in need, regardless of their faith, which is a testament to those that are looking to make our community better. And that's why it's just so hurtful to see that, and why it's so important that we need to take a leadership position to say that's unacceptable in our community, and that we take some action. So for example, we've had issues in the past as well. We've had it's not just Islamophobic behavior. We've had some anti-Semitic hate symbols. Back last August, they chemically burned a 10 by 10 foot swastika into one of our soccer fields, which again is just. It's not just somebody spray painted it. Someone went to the trouble of buying chemicals to burn it into the ground in a massive area where children and family play. So there are issues across the board where we're seeing this rise in hate, specifically in Whitby. I've lived in Whitby pretty much my entire life, and we've never encountered these actions of hate before, and it's troublesome. But I think it's really important for us as community leaders to stand up, shout from the rooftops that it's unacceptable, and take action to stem it, say it's not acceptable, and bring communities together to fight that as a group.
Krista, is so kind of you. And once we are talking about that, you said that you were raised in Whitby and you have never seen this kind of behavior in there. What is something which is igniting, the hate among the people? Why it is happening? Yes, please.
Well, I can only speculate, but I've been a politician in Whitby for 15 years. And and over the years, all that I can speculate is that it seems to be there's more commentary and activity online, and there just seems to be more people that are just feel free through the keyboard warriors to be a bit more aggressive than they would be in person. And I think that has evolved into people being more bold with these actions. Like, one of the nice things about a community like Whitby and out in Durham is that, we don't have cameras everywhere to record everything. But when you see actions like this, like it's not even just on a bus shelter, it's on the sign for the Muslim Welfare Center saying deport Islam. And it's just, what an awful message for the people that work at the Muslim Welfare Center and all the women that are staying there, to see that the hateful message is very targeted. So that's why we have to stand up. And it was great. The staff acted really quickly. So within hours, like by lunchtime, it was all removed. And the Whitby staff stepped in to try and help out to get there really fast. We're really grateful for their speed, for sure.
One thing I would like to appreciate Chris Leahy, that he's the person who is bringing a motion. Would you mind to explain something about that?
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, again, part of where we as individual councillors can bring forward motions so that to get support of all the council to take action by the city and the town or the region or wherever it is that you live. So what we've done in the past is the same thing as we've condemned any of Islamophobic activities or anti-Semitic activities or any hateful messages that we've seen. So this particular message is to support the initiatives of the federal government in their different activities to fight against Islamophobia and anti-Semitism. So that's one step to reaffirm our commitment that we as a town are trying to do that. So that's one aspect of it. The next piece is to try and get the town to coordinate an interfaith activity to bring people from Christian faith, Jewish faith, Muslim faith, Hindu faith together to try and show how we are supporting our Canadian values and that we are there to build up our community and support each other and are not going to tolerate these hateful acts here, whether it's Whitby, Durham, anywhere in Canada. Like, it's just not how I was raised by my parents, not how I raise my children. It's not the example that anyone that I've ever met in town would ever do. So that's why it's really important. So that, I think, is the key takeaway. It's not just condemning it, it's asking staff and to coordinate an interfaith activity to bring communities together and show our solidarity and fighting.
That's beautiful. I think you can also play in the community and town hall meetings. You should invite everybody. And it's part of our oath as well to be sincere to all our fellow citizens, no matter which country they came. But now we are Canadian.
Correct.
Do you make them realize that?
Well, that's part of it's trying to instill for, let's say, people that are new to Canada. We're seeing, like, again, in Whitby, the face of Whitby's definitely changed from when I was a kid. And so we're seeing a lot more Asian communities, a lot more Southeast Asian, a lot more Indians. There's a wide range of a lot more people from the Philippines. So there's a wide range of people from all over the world that are choosing to come and live in Whitby. And what's part of the example that we have to set as citizens and residents that already live there is what our values are. Why did you even come to Whitby in the first place? Because you probably thought it was a great place to raise a family and still live in the city and still have a decent sized property so that you can can have the dog and play with people outside or your pets and your family. And through that, like instilling the Canadian values, like through the Charter of Rights and Freedom, under Section 2 of the Charter of Rights and Freedom. So we all have the freedom of conscience and religion, peaceful assembly, freedom of association. Like, like basically what's that 1982, like fundamental rights and freedoms that all of us have, and we should be doing everything we can to promote that, to combat these actions of hate for those that are willing to do that. And again, these are probably small actors. There's only one or two that are doing that, but we as leaders and as members of a community that want a better community need to lead by example, show how we're against that, and make sure that our children are raised in a way so that they all can live together in harmony, because that's ultimately what we all want for our children.
Of course, with the harmony, we can be, much better, and will live with the peace of mind for each other. One of my question is that you ask that all hate-related crimes and graffiti to be reported to the various human rights groups like National Council of Canadian Muslims rather than to the police. Would you please elaborate it?
Yeah, no, because here is the reason why that's so important. You have different human rights organizations like the National Council of Canadian Muslims, like the Urban Alliance on Race Relations, and because they're connected in with their communities across Canada, whether it's in Whitby, Toronto, Brampton, Montreal, Calgary, they're the ones that are collecting that data and doing different reports. I know B'nai B'rith does the same thing. They collect all that information and data, and then do like an annual report to say what are the incidents across the board. And it's important to work with the human rights organizations to do that, because they have the broadest view on what's going across the country. I'm certainly not saying don't report it to the police. The police are the right organization and who you need to call first at any time when these hate activities are happening. Like we've recently expanded and created a large, anti-hate task force in Durham region as an outcome of some of the incidences we've been seeing in the region, and we're really grateful for the DRPS for doing that. But the police there is a threshold that it has to meet before it's really reported. So unless they decide if it's hate motivated vandalism or not, it may or may not be reported in the police database. So it may not meet that threshold. Whereas if you report something as an individual yourself, you've seen something in a park, you've seen a family member has seen something, and you report it to, let's say, the Urban Alliance on Race Relations or NCCM, then they put that in their database and they're tracking that level, and they're not worried about the level of criminality or what requirement it is. So it's very important to work with the human rights organizations to monitor that, because the police threshold is higher and they're not going to capture everything. And then also the police databases, even though they're working to be more integrated, it's not as seamless as having, say, everything on Google. So they don't necessarily have all the information perfectly aligned to give you that universal report. Most of them are pretty good and they will deliver to human rights organizations, but the easiest way to show that is for us as individuals to report to the different human rights organizations, because they're the ones that are in the best position to track it.
You said matter of criminality and matter of a threat, because something which ended up in London, Ontario, that is a threat.
Absolutely.
Okay, so once what you see at the moment where Whitby is and Muslim welfare, and I think if somebody can say something about me, that is a different thing, but Muslim Welfare Center, without any race or culture, they give food to everybody who comes there, they give shelter to everybody. So this matter of criminality is at what level? Is it at a threatening level in Whitby?
It's now, and this is where I'm not a lawyer and I'm not a police officer, so I don't want to say anything that isn't correct, but every incident that is given is not necessarily reported into the police database, because they're mostly just there to report like criminal activities. Mm-hmm. So some things just won't be recorded. And that's where, if you work with the human rights organizations, they're going to record and capture everything, and they're going to have a better, accurate view on what's happened. So that's really why it's important. And I'm not saying not to do the police. We would never do that. If you ever feel threatened, your first call is to 911. There's no question that's what you do. But when you're at the point where you're noticing some hate motivated vandalism or graffiti, and it just isn't right, and you have to trust your gut, that's when you call the police, but also call the human rights organizations, because they're the ones that are the experts and they're dealing with this every day, and they can also give you advice too on the best way to move forward with it. So it's just a way as we can be the eyes and ears to make sure that our community is safe and we're fighting against everything that's hate motivated and not something that we want. But it's in partnership with the human rights organizations. It's in partnership with the police that help keep our community safe, and with our members of council and other community leaders, because we are the way to connect you to the different organizations that can help.
Thank you very much. It's all about Islamophobia, but I believe living in this system, we have to respect every other religion. And as you said, that you raised in this way by respecting and caring all other communities, and no matter if your children go to the school, there are Jewish people, all other religions. We are all in this brotherhood of being as Canadian. Doug Ford, the Premier of Ontario, also mentioned it, that our laws are very lenient. The criminals are not like, once they are arrested and they are released after a few hours on the bail.
That is definitely an issue. What do they? The name that they call for it is the recidivism, where you have someone that's arrested and then they go into the court, and the new laws, now again, I can't remember the different bills federally that manage that, but are directing the courts to pick the lowest level of punishment, more or less. I'm paraphrasing here, so that you have someone that, specifically where we're seeing a lot of issues out in Whitby is on car thefts, and I know we see that across the GTA, but you're seeing people that have been arrested for stealing a car, and they go to bail and they're let go, and then they're arrested again for stealing a car again, and they're let go. And then they're arrested a third time, and then they're let go. So this is where, to the average resident or citizen, like, it's infuriating that the police have captured the person that stole the car. They're in front of the courts. There's evidence they stole the car, and they're put out on bail. And while they're on bail, they're stealing another car. Like, this goes back to the federal legislation that was changed a number of years ago, partly in COVID, partly to keep people out of the jails with all the COVID requirements. And I understand the rationale for why that was done back 5 years ago. But today we're seeing the results of that legislation. So we at the region, we've talked about this many times, at the municipalities across the board, is putting pressure on the federal government. And now we have a new federal government, so the pressure continues on them to change these rules so that if you are basically caught for a crime, you are held accountable and not immediately sent out to jail. So I can only speak to the examples that we've talked about at Regional Council, where the Chief of Police has come out and spoken to that, where I've heard from them because they're the experts. But that is where we're doing advocacy on the federal government to make sure that those rules are changed, because we are seeing so much increase in theft, specifically vehicles. Like, just like we would have a lot less, and now there's like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds stolen a year, and it's disheartening when you talk to a resident. One resident I spoke to had 3 cars stolen in a year. And how do I give them the comfort that everyone's doing their job? And the police are doing everything they can, and the courts are going within the laws. So what we have to do is we got to change the laws.
You mentioned something great, that first of all, it started with the stealing a car. It doesn't end there, because stealing a car, it's already inflation. Prices are going up for everything, and the car stolen once, twice, insurance companies definitely increase their premium as well. Okay, so it is a burden. The third thing is, once these people are released on the bail, they are becoming even more bolder. Rather than only stealing the car, they have started home invasions. They come at night, and the trauma, you are sleeping and all of a sudden somebody is at your door or inside your bedroom, and that is also a trauma.
Well, and that's its own issue. Like we've I can't speak for out here, but out in Durham, we've really have seen a drop in the neighborhood watch organizations that will look out of it. But what's replaced it is neighborhood Facebook pages. And in one of the neighborhoods not far from mine, they had the home video surveillance of 3 guys in hoodies that were going around trying to go into people's cars and to go into people's houses, which again just creates that sense of fear and concern. And which is not what anybody of us wants. So that's why we always have to come together as a community and, again, report the crime, report when you see these incidences, so that it's tracked by the police and they can react appropriately, and the appropriate resources can be allocated to where the issues are. But people only know about the issues if you talk about them. If you just post it on a Facebook page, the people that read it on Facebook know, but they're not the ones in a position to make a difference. So that's why it's important to share the information, but the number one person for anything to do related with crime is definitely the police.
This is Regional Councillor from Whitby, Chris Ray, with us. My last question to you is, any message for the community? Is all this too much immigrants coming to the country, a race to make more money or to become rich overnight? And of course, Islamophobia is also what is the reason that coming in this country, taking the oath, but still crossing the line and hurting their own fellow citizens?
I guess that's the challenge. I don't think it's related to anything specific to immigration or anything specific, right? Like, I think crime cuts across all races, all religion, all ethnic groups. So it's not like one group does more crime than another. But what we do see that's differently is that there's more like-minded individuals are able to work together, connect over social media or other different ways to coordinate and bring that forward. And we're seeing that the increase in crime. So I wouldn't necessarily say it's related to immigration or an increase in immigration, but what I would say is that we need to create almost like a counterculture to show that activity is not acceptable in our community, and put the cultural pressure between our families, our friends, from all the different people that criminal behavior is unacceptable. And the way that that's enforced is through strengthening the laws through the legal system, which we are in control of, and to punish appropriately those that are breaking the crime, to again discourage them from doing it. So I wouldn't say that it's tied to specifically immigration. I think there is a heightened sense of fear and concern that we're seeing across the community, especially since COVID. There's more, just even a slight undercurrent of anger sometimes when you're talking to people, or a little bit less patience when they're dealing with an issue than I experienced in the 10 previous years that I was a politician. So I think that has more to do with it than any type of immigration levels. But then that's just my humble opinion.
You're absolutely right. I remember once the COVID started, we were covering the news. People, if somebody used to sneeze beside, they used to fight with each other. So it's a mental illness now. But one suggestion, I thank you very much. You did talk about this Islamophobia, and once I'm talking about the Islamophobia, I would say once my neighbor is a Jewish or anybody else, I have to respect him equally. The way, if I want to be respected, I have to respect that person as well. But I think so most of these cars, home invasions, and even for this graffitis, young people are. Is your council doing something to involve young people in some constructive work, rather than they get into these groups and adopt bad manners?
So, yeah, the town does have a lot of different activities. We have Whitby Youth Council. We're trying to engage youth from across the different high schools to engage in positive activities that are going to help them grow. We have youth drop-in centers across town. So we have them down up in the north end, in the center end, and the south end. So we try and create an environment to give youth activities and different things to do. So I think that is a focus, and we've been fortunate over the years that we've been recognized as like a platinum level youth-friendly community because of our 140 plus parks, our different things that we're trying to do to create those activities, like our new Whitby Sports Complex that we're building up by the 407 in Baldwin, which is going to have the largest pool in Durham region, 10 lanes. We're also putting in pump tracks. We're putting in pickleball courts. We're putting in more activities, walk tracks, more arenas, more basketball courts. Just again, to create as much activity as possible for our youth specifically, because those are the ones that we want them to build healthy relationships with sport and the outdoors, and to build up a great life. So that, I think we're doing a relatively decent job on that level. But as with all things, we can always do better.
Thank you very much. This is Chris Leahy. I thank you very much from bottom of my heart that you personally came here. Once again, I would like to mention a regional council, Chris Leahy, and this is a person who put a motion on the table regarding this Islamophobia, and of course involving the youth in more activities that will also make a difference in the community. We look forward to talk to you again and again. Sure. In the end, whatever we talk about, one strong message for the community on the mic, so that we can take this message across the board.
I just would think that for everyone that is listening today, that a simple way to say it, is hate in any form has no home here, whether your home is in Mississauga, Brampton, Whitby, Toronto, anywhere in Canada. That's not the community that we want. It's not the community we want to raise our family, and it's just not the community that we want to live. So it is only through our actions and our positive steps to create that sense of community that we can lead by example, and to ensure that we have no hate in any form anywhere across our communities.
We have to live together in this such beautiful system. It is a wonderful. Canada has given us a lot. In return, we have to have the patience. I understand me, you, and everybody else. Sometimes these are the aftermaths of COVID. We have to do some other way. Thank you very kindly, Chris.
Thank you so much.
God bless you.
Absolute pleasure. God bless.
God bless you. Chris Leahy.